How's it going, guys? Joey Ducat here from CSC Motorcycles. And in today's video, we're going to run you through the steps on how to install the most popular requested upgrade for your SG250, the Scrambler Handlebar. I'm 5'10" with a 31-inch inseam. The Scrambler Handlebar gives me a much more relaxed riding position and makes slow and tight maneuvers easier. The history of the Scrambler. Now, before purpose-built dirt bikes were made, riders would modify standard bikes to make them more off-road capable, to race them in hare scramblers. Check out the CSC blog post below. Now, also below are links to the Scrambler kit on our website at cscmotorcycles.com. Parts in the kit: handlebars, extended throttle and clutch cable, clutch cable bracket, extended brake lines, fittings, and crush washer, extended bar end hardware. By popular demand, the new 2021 Scrambler Handlebar is now coming with the crossbar. Shims needed for installation are included. Tools needed: 8mm wrench, 10mm wrench, 11mm wrench, 12mm wrench, 2 13mm wrenches, 4mm Allen, 6mm Allen, deep 8mm socket, 10mm socket, 12mm socket, ratchet, extension. Number 3 Phillips screwdriver. Number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Scissors, needle nose pliers, side cutters, hammer, Dremel tool, grip glue, air nozzle, shop towels. Brake bleeder. A commercial brake bleeder is highly recommended, but a clear plastic hose inserted into a container will suffice. First step: remove the seat. Remove side covers. Turn off petcock. Remove the fuel tank. For a more detailed video, go to our SG250 tank removal video. Check the link below. Rerouting control housing wires. Disconnect right control housing connector and reroute cable behind the triple clamp. Disconnect left side control housing connectors. All the bullet connectors are color coordinated except for the pink wire. It is connected to the green with orange wire. Reroute cable behind the triple clamps. Installing the extended brake cable. Brake fluid is very corrosive to painted surfaces. Use care not to spill, splash, or drip. Place a rag under the front master cylinder. With a Phillips screwdriver, remove the front brake reservoir cap. With an 8mm wrench, loosen the front caliper bleed nipple and evacuate the brake fluid with a brake bleeder. If a brake bleeder is not available, use a paper towel to soak up the brake fluid in the reservoir. Using a clear plastic tube, run into a container, attach the bleed nipple, open, and pump out the fluid from the line. Remove the 2 front brake line clamps. Place a towel on the front fender. With a 12mm socket, remove the top brake banjo bolt. With a 12mm socket, remove the lower banjo bolt. Carefully fish out the brake hose. Remove and discard used copper crush washers. New ones are provided with the kit. Remove the rubber bushings from the stock brake hose. Installing the brake line. Install the brake line bushings into the extended brake line. The top uses the straight brake fitting. The lower uses the angled brake fitting. Install loosely. Fish the brake line. Loosely install the lower brake line banjo bolt into the caliper. Install the 2 brake line clamps. Loosely install the brake line top banjo bolt into the master cylinder. Controls. Remove left and right bar end weights. Remove grips. If you have access to compressed air, blow air under the left grip to easily remove it. If compressed air is not available, carefully cut off the grips. Cutting the throttle side grip is required. With an 8 and 10mm wrench, loosen throttle free play. Disconnect the front brake switch terminal. With a Phillips screwdriver, remove the right side control housing. Remove throttle cable from the housing. Unscrew carburetor top cap. Pull back spring and release throttle cable from the slide. Pay attention to the stock routing. Remove the throttle cable. Fish extended throttle cable toward the front end. Remove carburetor cap from stock cable and install it on the extended cable. Install spring and throttle cable on the slide. Identify the idle speed ramp and install it facing you. Carefully install slide and verify slide goes completely down the carburetor cylinder. For a detailed explanation, go to our carburetor rebuild video. Check the link below. With a Phillips screwdriver, remove the left side control housing. With an 8mm socket, remove the stock clutch cable and bracket. Reinstall the bolts. Pull back the clutch perch cover and completely loosen the free play on the adjuster. Line up the slots on the barrel adjuster and lock nut to remove the cable from the perch. Line up the slot under the clutch lever and remove the cable. Paying attention to the stock routing, remove the clutch cable. Route extended clutch cable. Install the kit clutch cable bracket. Completely loosen adjuster nuts and install cable. Attach cable end into lever arm. With an 8mm socket, remove the clutch perch and master cylinder. With a 6mm Allen, remove the handlebar clamp bolts. Installation. Place the Scrambler handlebar on the clamp and evenly line up the hash marks. With a 6mm Allen, install the handlebar clamp. Position the angle of the rise in line with the angle of the forks and tighten in a crisscross pattern. Incrementally, tighten bolts so that there is an even gap on both sides of the handlebar clamp. If using a close-end grip, Installing it on a bare handlebar and hitting it with a mallet will create a hole. Clean up the hole with a Dremel tool. Install the throttle tube. Insert the throttle cable into the right side control housing. Pull out a length of cable and attach the throttle cable barrel end to the throttle tube. Align the pin in the top clamshell to the hole in the handlebar. Using a Phillips screwdriver, tighten the right control housing. Adjust the throttle free play. Connect the brake switch terminals. Using an 8mm socket, attach the brake master cylinder clamps. Using grip adhesive, install the throttle side grip. Bleeding the brakes. We highly recommend using a commercial brake bleeder, but if one is not available, using a clear hose inserted in the container will suffice. Tighten all the brake banjo bolts and fittings. Place a rag under the master cylinder and fill it with .4 brake fluid. Bleed the brake system. Be sure to keep the master cylinder reservoir filled. Repeat until no bubbles are coming out of the bleed nipple and master cylinder. Recheck torque of the brake banjo bolts and fittings. Align the pin in the top clamshell to the hole in the handlebar. Using a Phillips screwdriver, tighten the left control housing. Attach the clutch perch lever. Align barrel end of the clutch cable into the hole on the bottom of the lever. Align the barrel adjuster and lock nut and install the clutch cable. With two 13mm wrenches, tighten the lower cable adjuster. Using grip adhesive, install the left side grip. Assemble extended screw, weight, rubber tube, and nut. The throttle side requires a spacer between the weight and the rubber tube. Using a 4mm Allen, install the handlebar bar ends. Install zip ties on the wire retainer and on the handlebar. So this installation involves knowledge of the electrical, fuel, and brake systems, all which are critical. If you cannot perform any of these steps, please take your motorcycle to a professional technician. You can always order your SG with the Scrambler handlebars installed. Please comment below on any future videos you would like to see. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more future videos from CSC Motorcycles.